I had a DJ the other day ask me, should I tell stories at the events that I do? Well, that's a good subject. Let's talk about that. Hi, I'm Bill. This is Creative License, and thanks again for being a part of the Little Dog and Pony show I do every week. Thank you very much for saying nice things about and taking advantage of the sponsors that help me to keep this show on, like Electro Voice, like Promo Only, like DJ Event Planner and Perfect Portals and Disc Jockey News, and of course my workshop, The Entertainment Experience, which is going to have one coming up in November. Seats are already selling fast. If you want to know more about it, reach out to me. So should you tell stories? Well, if you're a storyteller and you have a way to be able to incorporate those stories in your event, I don't think that that's such a bad thing. I am a storyteller. I do tell stories, but I don't think you need to be a storyteller. You don't necessarily, you need to understand how story structure works. Well, you don't need to. But if you do understand it, then you can utilize it. You can understand how much more powerful the event can be if you can understand the structure and take advantage of it. The structure of stories are very basic, okay? The story is there's a beginning and a middle and an end. That is a basic story structure, okay? Within it, there are chapters and or scenes and or acts, and there are transitions and all those things, but the basic story structure is always there. And whether or not you take advantage of the idea that that structure is a part of what you provide for the client, it doesn't matter, because it's happening in the room whether or not you take advantage of it or not. Because people communicate and see the world in stories. And they like stories and they want stories. Remember the last time at a dinner party, maybe at your parents' house, and somebody said, "How was your day?" And you said, "It sucked." Well, that's not a very good story, and it's not going to be very memorable. In fact, "It sucks" what you get is, "Well, tell me more. Why does it suck? Tell me the story about what made it suck." They want to know the story. Now, the same person says, "How was your day?" And that person doesn't say it sucks. That person says, "Oh, it was crazy. I got up, had to early because my alarm clock went off strange time. And then I was tired all the way to work as I drove through terrible traffic. And when I got there, my boss was on my butt and I was behind all day. And when I finally left, I had this great thing that happened to me that got my boss to pat me on the back. And all of a sudden, the traffic was great. And I got all the way home, and there's a beginning and there's a middle and there's an end." That's a story you remember, right? Well, in an event, let's say a wedding, there are structured stories happening all the time because people see it as a story. There's the event itself has a story. The story, the beginning and the middle and the end. You arrive, there's the beginning, there's the dinner, cocktail and dinners and dance, and that's the middle. And then the end is "Thank you for coming, good night, and drive home." That is the story. And within that story, there's the story of I drove up to the event and I saw the parking lot and I trucked across the parking lot and I got to the entrance and I went in. Beginning, middle, end. You got inside and you started again with the next chapter, with the beginning of, look at how great this is. I put my gift down. I went and found a cocktail. I talked to a couple of friends and someone announced that we're going to have dinner and I sat down. Beginning and a middle and an end. And there's lots of those that happen. Now, if you take advantage of the structure that's happening and are able to herd the cats, communicate to the room within that structure and around that structure, what you do is going to have more of an impact than anything. And when you have to speak, it isn't just sit down, it's time for dinner. That has a beginning and a middle and an end. Sit down, it's time for dinner, beginning, middle, end. It's not a very good story, right? To get the attention of the room so you can tell the room a shared experienced story is the beginning. And then the middle is the thing you got to communicate, the thing that's happening. And the end is what they have to do for it to be done. That's your whole communication, a beginning, a middle, and an end that has purpose to it. And it drives people to a certain thing. And if you can now begin to be able to communicate in a better way, using better words, having better tonal quality, working on your breathing and your vocal cords and your diction, your body language, you become a better storyteller and you can become better at what you do. Everything that I talk about with the entertainment experience starts with the story. and the story that's happening, because in the entertainment experience that I talk about, there's a theatrical experience that's happening. And in every event that you have, whether you take my class or not, it's in there. It's happening. You may not be aware of it, but it is happening. So story, you don't have to tell stories, but if you do, or at least if you understand the stories, you're going to communicate a lot better. What do you think of this? Do me a favor and subscribe and ding the bell and get the alerts and tell your friends. You know, I can't remember what you're supposed to say, but I hope I see you next week. This is Creative License, and I'm Bill, and I'll see you next week.